Welcome back again. This is In Focus. Botswana filmmaker Billy Kokorwe was recently in the United States to promote his new film, The African Democrat. The movie chronicles the political life of Botswana's second president, Sir Ketumile Masire. The film is part of Kokorwe's personal campaign to improve the way others see the accomplishments of his country and Africa. VOA's Paul Ndiho has more.
4 decades of uninterrupted civilian leadership, progressive social policies, and significant capital investments have made Botswana what US officials say is one of the most dynamic economies in Africa, dominated by diamond mining and with a growing tourism sector. The African Democrat film follows the life of former President Ketumile Masire, a former school teacher who founded Botswana's Democratic Party.
I have become a star.
Filmmaker Billy Kokorwe says he wants the Western media to show Africa in a better light and for their audiences to understand Africa differently.
Well, this is a statue of a very great man. Sir Kama, with whom I worked and derive a lot of pleasure.
Well, the main objective is really for Africa not to always be seen as a continent that comes with begging bowls. We want Africa to be seen in a positive light in order for the Western peoples to actually understand Africa, and also for the Western countries to not just give aid to Africa, but sometimes deal more with development of Africa.
Kokorwe takes issue with editors of Western media, asking them not to tar the whole continent with the same broad brush.
Concerned about negative images, really. You can tell a story without necessarily showing babies who are skinny and are suffering. You can still tell that story without necessarily showing heart-rending images, which are really demeaning.
The filmmaker says that when he thinks about the African continent, he is reminded that Africa is not all gloom and doom.
Do swear that I'll faithfully and diligently.
Well, what comes into mind, for instance, is a film that I just made about our second president, Ketumile Masire, who took Botswana from being one of the 25 poorest countries in the world to being a middle-income country. What comes into mind is the story of South Africa and how South Africa is progressing. What comes into mind also is how Africa as a whole is beginning to unite through the African Union.
Kokorwe says that Africans themselves are leading the growth in investment across the continent.
I've been a farmer all my life. I was born in a farming family. My father had a farm. And
says they are optimistic about their prospects, though he says some African countries still need help from other nations. Kokorwe says he is talking with independent film festival directors, distributors and producers to see how best to market his movie, The African Democrat. It's part of what he calls his positive Africa image campaign, one that he would like to take to Europe and Asia and following his stop in the United States. Paul Ndiho, VOA News.
Well, wish him definitely all the success. Yeah. The good thing that he has going for him is that Botswana already has such a very good image internationally, even within Africa.
Exactly.
And that's a good start, you know, to promote these
and it actually
progresses.
Exactly, and it tells you one story. I mean, it behoves on Africa and African leaders to do things that will make the world recognize that there are great things happening on the continent. I mean, it's not about just protesting against these negative images. It's doing stuff on the continent in changing leadership, in developing the nations and eliminating certain negative things so that even those who have developed these negative ideas about the continent, when they visit, they will say it is not what we thought. So I think
But I also want to believe, Kokorwe, that a lot of people now have a better image of Africa than how it used to be.
I think so, because they've traveled a lot.
Yeah.
Well, that's our show for today, and thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.
See you
Good
tomorrow.
night.
Good night.